How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of your favorite Swim Bait podcast, Scales and Tails, episode 197 today, joined by a gentleman we've had on once before. And in that time, I think, when do you think you were on last? I guess I didn't look. Probably like 6 months ago, maybe?
Yeah, it was about 5 or 6 months ago, probably. Right,
Yeah.
right when we were like first, starting to actually come onto the market for real.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so it's been a little while, been about a half year, give or take, somewhere in there. And you guys have York Casting Co. has grown. We're with Caleb York. I guess I just kind of glazed right over that, skipped over that part. We're with Caleb from York Casting Co., who I'm sure you guys are very familiar with. They're always on my story because they're always dropping baits. They're dropping baits. It seems like every single week, dropping all sorts of really sweet videos. These guys are out fishing when they're not pouring baits and painting baits and doing all the bait maker stuff. Caleb was like, "Hey, let's run up another episode. Let's talk about some stuff. Got some cool things I want to share. XYZ, everything else." So that is what we're doing today. So Caleb, I guess real quick, well, not real quick. What have you been up to since last time you were on? And I guess before we do that, do you remember if we did the icebreakers last time you were on?
No, we didn't do the icebreakers last time I was on. I know
Okay.
that for sure.
Okay.
Do you
Okay.
want me to
Let's.
answer the
Yeah.
question first, or
Yeah.
do you want
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
icebreakers?
Let's do the
Yeah, dude, my
icebreakers real
life.
quick. Or no, yeah,
You
let's
want
do
to do
your
it?
questions, then we'll do the icebreakers.
Okay. So yeah, basically for me, my life is 180 degrees different from when we talked last. And not from what I'm doing, but how much of it I'm doing. We have, brought on a full-time employee, which is York Casting Schmike on Instagram. People have seen him. And he's a lifelong friend of mine, grew up as neighbors, and he's been a workhorse for us, learning as fast as he can, doing as much as he can. Now, he's better at a lot of things than I am. Especially with the chemicals and stuff like that. He's really gotten
Yeah.
in tune with them. And I'm super opposite from him. He's super fast. I mean, I'm super fast. He's super slow as far as let's do this the right way. I'm like, fuck it. Let's just get it done.
Yeah.
So it's a great balance that we've created. And we've dropped every single Friday since June, the first Friday in June, which has been just bonkers, man. Like literally nonstop, no vacation, hardly any fishing this summer. I've been fishing maybe 3 times the entire summer. And luckily they've been pretty awesome trips. I've still
Yeah.
gotten
Yeah.
some content. And so when you get 5 eats as a bait maker, that's more reason to stay in the shop because you have 5 posts. Do you get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's been good to us. I'm definitely not fishing as much. I'm definitely not guiding as much. But we are still doing both, and we're hiring a full time head of our guiding program soon, and all of that stuff. So definitely taking a big leap. The people who, last time I was on here, since then I've gotten, probably 30 or 40 people reaching out to me saying the only reason they know who I am and supported my business is because I was on your podcast. So first of all, thank you for having me on. It definitely helps everybody that you do this. But yeah, it's grown a lot, man. We went from selling baits on Instagram by the singles to, now dropping 100 baits on Friday and getting hate emails because people can't get in on it. And so it's a big difference, you know what I'm saying? So it's funny, but we're working through it and we're only looking to grow from here. So yeah, I would say that's where we're at. I want to fish more too. That's the other thing.
Yeah, there you go, dude. Yeah, I mean, that's always the thing when a bait maker gets in like big into the bait making scene, they never get to fish. I mean, you see it with a lot of guys.
Exactly.
When like obviously when you get to a point like if you look at Buka's always fishing, but he's also not a handful of people. He's got a pretty big team under him. Baits kind of do
Right.
their own thing. He can step out
Well,
of
and he
shop
did
and
his
go
due
go live his life.
diligence.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He'd been doing it for
Like
15.
he did his time.
Yeah.
I haven't done my time yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's probably gonna get worse from here before it gets better. So
Yeah, 100%, man. And it's also nice that when you are, kind of established, people are buying your baits, you guys are selling as many baits as you are. you don't have to necessarily rely on your guys' own content. You and Schmike don't need to go out and record and fish and stuff because
Right.
people are like organically making posts, organically sharing your products. And sometimes,
Yeah.
from a standpoint of a person buying baits, like that means more when their buddy or somebody that they're friends with online is catching a bunch of fish on this bait, whereas you can watch a bait maker who knows the bait inside and out, go out and catch 100 fish in a video. But if your buddy who maybe struggles with glides or not, whatever else it may be, they go out and they catch 5 or 10
100%.
fish a night, they're like, oh man, like this is a bait that I'm getting turned on to that I need to check out.
Absolutely. No, they're the real MVPs for real. I couldn't even name them because, I'm going to leave people out, but
Yeah.
just a really good group of guys who are hammers as far as with a swim bait in their hand, live in good areas.
Yeah.
Some of us are not as fortunate,
Yeah.
and that's kind of part of the swim baiting world is like, the constant I catch bigger fish than you isn't really valid because we all live in different parts of the country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to have guys who live in tough parts of the country catching fish on your baits and then having people in the capital of the fishing worlds, Texas and Florida, catching fish on your baits is the real MVP because their peers, the people who fish their rivers and know who they are, want to know what they're catching a fish on. You get what I'm saying? And a lot
Yeah.
of times when you're throwing a soft plastic or you're throwing a top water plug, you're just hush hush because
Mhm.
that's not a huge accomplishment for all of us. We've all done that a lot. But when you
Yeah.
catch one on a swim bait, it's hard to not share that experience because it
Yeah.
is truly a cool experience.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so when they share it, people want to replicate what they're doing. Do you get what I'm saying? People are like,
Mhm.
I want that to happen to me. And it's like, a frog bite, I feel like in the swim bait community is something that every swim baiter loves too. Do you get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because it's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
close in that sense. Like when you get on a good frog bite, I mean, it's something you've never seen before. It's just unusual. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think that specifically in the swim baiting world, yes, the people filming or taking pictures with our baits is far more important than, me catching a fish on the bait or me taking a picture of the baits in my hand and
Yeah.
posting them on Instagram, like that's good too, and we have to do that. But all these other people speaking for us, like literally gives me chills. Like it's so cool how supportive people get of you because you made a bait that, they had a great day on it,
Yeah.
like that's sick.
Yeah. Yeah, and that I was gonna say that too. Like, I feel like any swim bait cast to catch is pretty cool, whereas any guy fishing a crankbait or a drop shot there cast to catch maybe isn't as cool all the time. Like, there's like a lot of characteristics
Yeah.
into a swim bait bite that are just so freaking sweet. No matter if you think it's a quote unquote cool bite or if it's just a normal regular bite, like it's just sick to see a fish come up from the depths and try to inhale a glide bait or whatever else it may be. It's just a little bit cooler, and
Yeah,
people always
it
say
is.
like. I don't know why you would fish swim baits like all the time, and it's just because it's freaking cool, dude. That's just is what it is. It's cool. It's cool to catch a fish on a swim bait, even if it's a small one, I think. Picture this: the sun rising over the mountains, your line gets tight, and the fight of a lifetime begins. Welcome to Lake Bacharach Lodge, Mexico's premier largemouth bass fishing lodge. Nestled in the heart of the Sierra Madre Mountains, Lake Bacharach Lodge offers world-class fishing, luxury accommodations, first-class hospitality, and expert guides who know where the grandes live. Whether you're chasing giants or kicking back after a day on the water with a frosty, cold, bottomless margarita, we've got you covered. Home to some of the biggest bass in the world, Lake Bacharach is truly an angler's paradise. Don't miss your shot at the bass of a lifetime. Book your trip now at www.lakebacharachlodge.com or call 806-316-8382 today. Lake Bacharach Lodge, truly the best in bass. If you're listening to this podcast, it's safe to assume you're tossing big baits for trophy bass. You already know that treble hook changes are part of the game, but they don't always have to be a pain in the butt to do. Toit split ring pliers are hands down the easiest way to swap out treble hooks, especially on those beefy swim baits we all love. No more slipping, no more fighting your gear, just smooth, secure hook changes every time. Available in 3 fixed sizes in a full kit with interchangeable jaws that safely open up any size split ring. Toyota doesn't stop there. They offer a full lineup of precision tools designed with anglers in mind, including long and short nose pliers, scissors that cut cleanly on limp braid, and wire forming tools perfect for rigging those soft baits. So up your game with Toy, because when you're chasing giants, every detail matters. Check them out at toitfishing.com and be sure to use code SNT15 for 15% off your order. Again, that's toitfishing.com, TOIT fishing.com. And again, SNT15 for 15% off your order.
Absolutely. And like, well, I was having an Instagram conversation in the comments of somebody who caught a fish on my bait this week, and it was a like a skinny, spawned out looking largemouth that was probably 22 inches. You know, it was still probably 3.5 pounds, but it could have been 5 or 6 pounds. You know, and he said, "Oh, it was DFW, Luke Matula," and he said, "Summer builds." Do you get what I'm saying? And I commented and I said, eats over the build all day. Like
Yeah.
if they'll come out of the water and just inhale the bait right in front of you, that's the pinnacle of it all to me, outside of catching like your PB or catching something that's just outrageous, right? Obviously we'd all that's what we're all out there to do, is catch something outrageous, but and that's why we throw swim baits to begin with.
Yeah.
But if it's just like your average run of the mill fish, 4 pounds or 2 pounds, I'd rather just them eat in the coolest way. I don't
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
care. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
just like you said, there's just a little something different to it. And I think, like you said, a cast to catch, for instance, that's one of the big reasons I got into swim bait fishing in the first place, is because, my normal cast to catch is on my jerk bait. No one cares to see that shit. Like, like your hands are in the way half the time because you're jerking the bait, and it's just
Yeah.
like the algorithm doesn't like all the motion and all the everything. Like they like the still, there's a bait in the frame, here comes a bait, here comes a
Yeah.
fish. Like that stuff does so much better on social media for everyone. It's obvious because those are the even in saltwater, those are the clips that you see. The GTs chasing in a topwater plug that someone's reeling as fast as they can or whatever. Those very visual eats.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And it really does all kind of make sense. But moving into the icebreaker so we can get into the actual full length conversation here.
Yeah.
You and I, I'm sure you know it. I'm sure everybody who's listening probably knows that Caleb and I are getting ready to go fish in the morning, down there in his neck of the woods. Where are we stopping? Like, what's the local plug and what are we getting while we're there? Our pre-trip essentials, whether it's a morning or evening bite, what are we getting?
As far as like a bait shop, where are we stopping,
Uh, n-
or as far as a lake?
like, excuse me, like we're going, getting ready to go fish in the morning. We got to stop at a gas station, fill up the truck, fill up the boat, get
Oh yeah,
our
okay, okay.
pre-trip snacks and stuff. What are we getting?
So there's a Quality Mart down the street from my house. I live in the country, you know, pretty deep into the country. And so there's a Quality Mart down from the house, that has breakfast every morning, lunch every morning, every day. And dude, they serve the heat. So the
Mm,
thing is I got the rewards card going for the gas. So we get the gas, we swipe for the gas, we get our rewards points for
yeah.
that. We go in, we grab a snack because they're there at 5:30, you know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
you can be super early, get you a sausage biscuit and some drinks for the day. And that's exactly where I'm going first for sure.
Dang. Okay. Okay. That kind of, are they like actual breakfast sausage or breakfast sandwiches? Are they like the Jimmy Dean ones?
No, 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 no. These are real. Like these are
That's
like
so
buttermilk
sick.
biscuits made from
Yeah.
scratch. Like
Oh,
in tinfoil, just like
yep.
not even nicely put together,
Yeah.
and all just sitting on a heater out front. You know what I'm saying?
That's
And
sick.
there's a lady back there. Her name's Miss Karen, and she's just sitting back there working her ass off, and you can just see her putting all the biscuits up there as we're getting them if we're up that early to go fishing. So
That's
that's definitely
actually
the place.
that's so sick. And then the second question, kind of more geared towards the person I have on the region that they're at, or whatever else it may be. If you're going out like tomorrow, you and I we're going fishing tomorrow, are we like this time? So we're recording this. If you guys are listening to this in the future, Friday, August 8th. So it's been pretty hot around here. I don't know about down there. If we're going out tomorrow, are we trying to fish for largemouth, spotted bass? Like what? If you were gonna go guide me tomorrow, like what are we targeting tomorrow and how are we doing it?
The cool thing about where we live is, over the past month, the water has been in 90 degrees. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's pretty tough all in all. But every night it gets decently cool, at least into the high 70s, low 80s. And it cools that water temperature down, maybe 3 degrees, 4 degrees to where it touches back down in the 80s. And so, more so than anything, it's about getting there super early, first thing in the morning. And I'm going to try and get us on a spotted bass bite because that's how we could catch so many so fast, especially on a swim bait.
Okay.
But as the day progresses, it's definitely going to be more of like finding shade and finding really tight structure
Mhm.
next to deep water. And that's where the largemouth bite is going to turn on,
Mhm.
and they'll eat all day if you're making good cast and really pestering the structure that they're on. And you're going to get a lot of lazy eats, especially on the swim bait, but they'll come get it. Do you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so yeah, it's more so to me about being out there right before sunrise. You're
Mhm.
gonna get a really good bite right in that window, that early morning window. And then it's all pretty much structure, shade, you know,
Mhm.
nice ledge rock, stuff like
Yeah.
that. And that's where you're gonna catch your largemouth. So for me, it would be both fish species. And just targeting them at different times and in different ways.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So it's kind of gliding our way right into the next, part of the episode, the whole part of the episode, I should say. So we talked about what you guys have been up to for the last 6 months. This is kind of a cool thing. What are you guys planning, or like, what are you expecting for the rest of the year slash, uh, we'll just say the rest of the year because 6 months puts us into 2026, a couple months. What's your guys' goals, or kind of what are you anticipating to happen for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so we have a couple baits that are unreleased right now that we've been messing around with and prototyping for a while. One of them is a Wake and Crank 7-inch York Glide. It's going to be a two-piece, and it's going to be, basically one that you can't make come out of the water. Um, it's going to be a wake at slow speeds or your
Mhm.
rod tip up, and then that a true burning, like you can burn it down to 3 or 4 feet, super easy. It'll dead walk really well. So I'm really trying to master the production on that just to make sure that everybody who buys one in the future gets the same exact product that I'm fishing right now. And I
Yeah.
think that's something that a lot of people don't understand about the bait making business is that you can make one or you can make 10, but can
Hmm.
you make 10,000? Do you get what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And if I'm having to tinker and mess with things very individually and very minutely for every bait, I can't make enough baits to produce them. So right now, it's not a matter of for that bait, it's not a matter of getting it to do what I need it to do. It's a matter of getting it to do that every single time. So we're working on that. We're really close. And it's really coming down to right now, like us choosing which of the two bill structures that we want, and they both look really good. So which one's more consistent is the sorry, my dishwasher just ended, but
No, you're good.
yeah, it's really about which one is going to end up being more consistent for a big batch of baits. And then the one thing that literally no one knows, and if they don't listen to this podcast, won't know for even a couple more weeks, is the fact that we have a 5.5 inch York glide coming out.
Mm.
And so it's going to be that downsize from the 7. Not quite our little nugget that we have, not a micro glide, but it's going to be in that 1.25 ounce range. You're going to be able to throw it on a smaller rod, and it packs the same punch. You know what I'm saying? So I think people are going to be really excited about that too. And so we're working on those two things, and then I really want to catch, you know, a lot of fish between
Yeah.
now and December. I've really sacrificed a lot of our summer to just continue the momentum of the company, and I think we did that, and now we have some stock building up, and some plans in which we're going to be able to continue what we're doing, and hopefully I'll be able to free up to do more bait design and stuff because I'm a bait designer. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not
Yeah.
a sander
Yeah.
necessarily. That's not my favorite thing ever. So we're looking to do some things that allow me to really design new paints, new
Mm,
baits, things like that. And that's what I'm looking forward to in the next year is really getting those baits released that I just talked about, and
mm,
then also being able to free myself up more to be more creative.
yeah.
And also, one of the main things, it's funny, my wife always acts like when I'm actually fishing it's not work, but
Yeah.
if I'm not out there fishing, then it's really hard for me to understand what everyone's going to experience when they're fishing my bait. Do you
Mhm.
get what I'm saying? And
Yeah. Yeah.
current, wind, different water temperatures, all these things. Like, I really do need to be out there all the time
Mm.
in a bait development process in order to guarantee that this bait's ready to go. So I'm excited to move towards that. What about you though? I want to hear what you're up to for the next year.
Uh, Dude, I don't know. I've not even thought about what I'm doing next weekend, in all honesty. It's been very hectic, very busy with work and obviously this stuff. I am working on a new hat right now, hat design, so I don't know if I'll be
Ooh,
sold
that's
on
cool.
that. It's an interesting hat. It's not like a hat that's in the swimbait world right now as far as like colors and design and stuff. So I don't know. It may be cool. A lot of people probably are not going to like it, but I know me and a couple other people that I've shown have really, really enjoyed it. So I don't know. That's something that I'm pretty excited about, and I wanna like make some. I don't know. I need to do some t-shirts or something. I do have another idea for a product that we're trying to figure out. Like we kind of have it mocked up, but we have to make a model of it and do some stuff. It's not a bait or anything like that, but it's something that there's not really a market for, or there's not really anything on the market that can do this product thing that a couple people and I really think is a good idea. So I don't know, maybe eventually moving forward with that, but as of right now, it's just some college coursework and work, and on my days off, this obviously getting all this stuff around.
Right. Yeah.
It's
No,
been
you don't
busy.
have any time for anything. You're scheduled until December is what you should
Yeah,
have said.
yeah, yeah, more or less.
Just doing the same shit.
Yeah, I mean, dude,
um,
like when I
you going
texted
fishing
you.
anywhere cool?
So dude, I like hardly get the fish at all. When I texted you, so the last time you and I talked and I caught that fish on the glide, I didn't fish again until last week. So that was like a month and a half. Like I didn't get the fish for a month and a half because I've been so busy doing other stuff. So hopefully I do get to fish a little bit. I'm hoping to go down to Texas here in the next couple weeks, hang out with the boys down there, maybe get to fish a little bit down there, and
Nice.
then in the fall, hopefully take some time off of work and hopefully catch some big fish during that fall transition. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how everything plays out. I kind of like saving my PTO days in case, I get sick or anything like that, but I don't hardly ever get sick, so I don't know why I'm saving stuff. But no, just been working a lot, trying to work as many hours as I can so I can become a free man eventually.
Yeah, exactly. That's the goal for sure. Um, tell me again about that fish that you caught.
Yeah.
I know that you kind of told me over text, but it sounded sick, but I haven't heard the
Yeah.
full story from you actually.
So I don't even think I may have posted a picture on Universe, but I didn't like explain it, dude. I had just turned my GoPro off too. So this my buddy and I went and fished this like decent sized lake that I always used to fish when I was younger, like when I was first getting into swim baits, and I could go out and I could catch 25 16-inch fish on the Gantrel, like just pound them in sideways, catch a bunch of crappie, trolling for crappie, and like you'd go out there and by yourself, you'd have 100 fish day just because there's so many stunted bass out there. I caught one good fish out there in all my years of fishing. That was on the Hinkle trout. It was like a 22-inch fish, like just an absolute magnum fish. Haven't fished there in like 3 or 4 years since I had moved and really hadn't fished it while I lived here at all. That was the first time I'd fished it in, like I said, 4 years. So we go there. We think we're gonna just pound the snot out of them. My buddy caught like one on a jig and one on a what was he fishing? Oh, I can't even remember, a chatterbait maybe. Like it was just something kind of weird, like just like no pattern whatsoever. I fished a mag draft, nothing. Fished the York, didn't really have anything throughout the day. I missed one on the Bass Rock Japan Rat. And it was just kind of weird. Like we were trying to flip docks because that's where we thought they were gonna be, because that's where they always used to be. No fish out in the docks, no fish over weed patches. Like it was just super, super like terrible. I didn't catch a single fish. I had one eat the Japan Rat and miss the hooks, whatever.
Right.
And so there's a boat ramp on the it'd be on the mm, be on the west end of the lake. There's the main boat ramp, then there's a kayak. The boat or the lake is kind of picture like an eight, but there's a third hump, so it's like three circles put together like a three circle Venn diagram. It's kind of shaped like that. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
on the left side or on the east side or on the west side, left side of the lake, there's the main boat ramp, which is a little rinky dink ramp. And then in the middle of the lake, in the center circle, there's like a big sand hill that you kind of dump your kayaks in there. There's some trees and stuff. Like it's nothing, it's all sand. That whole part of the lake is sand. So we're paddling back to pick our kayaks up and paddleboard up. And dude, I kid you not, like we get right into the shade and I'm like just looking around. I'm like, dang, dude, like that's a really big bass swimming around like right there. That's kind of crazy. Like it was just tooling around, didn't even have a care in the world. So I lean back, hurry up, I grab my rod, unhook the York, and I'm like, my buddy's kind of like he's behind me a little bit, so he's like sitting up watching. He's like, damn, dude, that's like a really big fish. So I took like a little pitch cast, like maybe not even 12 feet off the tip of my board, and like, dude, I got like one crank in and this fish, like, it was swimming away and it just turned. And I'm like, whoa, that was crazy. And my buddy's like, I think that fish is gonna eat. I get like two more turns. Boom, this fish hits it. And I like, so I was fishing straight braid because I was fishing for bowfin the day before. So just absolutely out of my element. So I sweep. My drag, I think, slipped or I had loosened it or something. I can't remember. Something happened or I missed the reel handle. Something happened where I only had it for a second. I was like, kind of had just tension on it and that fish shakes off and it shook off through the hook and then it just kind of slowly kept swimming away and I'm like wow, I'm like freaking out. I'm looking at my buddy, I'm like that was crazy. I cannot believe that fish like saw us and did not care and still ate the bait. And he's like watched videos and stuff like all the classic YouTube videos, and he had seen me catch some fish the day before on a swim bait, but that was like his really first experience. He was losing his mind. He's like, dude, that was effing crazy. I cannot believe that fish just effing ate. And like I could just barely still see it. It was probably about 25 feet away now. And I'm like, just for shits and giggles. So I pitched back at it again. Like I made like a 35-foot cast and I'm working this thing back. I'm working it really fast because I'm like, this fish isn't going to eat again. We're getting ready to go. And he's like, is it following it? Because he's still behind me. And I'm sitting on my board and I'm like, I don't know. Like, I think there might be something underneath it. And dude, as soon as those words left my mouth, that fish ate it again. And I swept into it that time. And then I'm getting it in and I'm fiddling it with the net. I finally net it. And he was just like, I cannot believe that fish just ate. I mean, it was the same exact fish, no doubt about it. He's like, I cannot believe that fish ate it again. And the second time, the fish T-boned it just as much as it did the first time. Like, dude, it was the craziest thing ever. I was like, not only did we catch the biggest fish on
That
the
is
way out, this
wild.
thing ate twice on neon green 65-pound Prower Pro. Like it was absolutely, it was just a crazy,
One of
crazy.
those moments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't. You could tell me that happened.
No,
Like if guys are
that's
listening
sick.
and wouldn't believe it, it was on the white and chartreuse. I was like the first time me fishing it, and I was just like, wow, that is crazy. That's quite the story. I wish my GoPro was going, but my luck, I would have missed that fish the first time and turned around to clip it and shut my GoPro off, and then it would have ate a second time.
Right. Oh yeah, 100%. Well, dude, that's what's so funny to me is like I don't usually get long text from you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
yeah.
we're both pretty like straight to the point texters. So when I saw a long text come in, I was like, I wonder what this is about. And I started reading and I just started grinning more and more
Yeah.
throughout the text. I was like, oh, this is the best text to get.
Dude, it was crazy. It was
Shoot.
so insane. Uh yeah,
Yeah.
that was the
That
first
dude, that's
time.
so awesome. How big was it? Did you get a weight on
Uh
him or anything?
it was 4'9",
It
I
looked
think.
about four. Yeah,
Yeah.
it looked to be 4 or 5 pounds for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. It
Yeah.
was pretty long and pretty skinny, unfortunately. I will say that was the I lied. That was the second time I had fished the bait. I fished it like a couple weeks prior on St. Clair. I drove over to St. Clair and I tried to fish the canals for largemouth. Had two fish come up and look at it, but they weren't gonna eat it. Dude, we thought that fishing was gonna be so good, and it was actually so freaking terrible. Like, spent 6 hours of drive time to go fish this technique that I thought was going to be killer, and it was absolutely not killer, but it was
Yeah.
really bad
I mean,
conditions.
story of
But
our life, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, that's just how it goes for sure.
yeah, but I'm excited for the fall because I'm gonna have that thing tied on and I'm gonna fish it quite a bit. Dude, I like the shape of it. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's pretty. I'll just hold it up. It's pretty like rounded off and stuff. Like if you look at like our alewives in Lake Michigan, they're really rounded. They're not super sharp and rigid like a shad is. Like it's got a like a round, I think maybe bulbous is the word I'm looking for, like just a bubbly appearance, and this just matches it so well. So hopefully in the fall, on the pier heads, that thing will hopefully. I want to catch a big smallmouth on it, but hopefully the fish tune in on a
Yeah, that'll
glide
be
like
sweet.
that. That'll be fun.
Yeah, we kind of experienced the same thing up at the St. Lawrence. Is
Yeah, yeah.
we could get them to eat the glide, but you had to fish so hard to get them to eat the
Mhm.
glide. And then when we were throwing conventional stuff or scoping at all, then we were
Yeah.
catching 5 pound smallies. So it's really hard to be like, I'm a swim baiter, but I did drive 10 hours here and I would love to catch big smallies for sure. And the water was just a little too deep for them to want to
Yeah.
really come up and
Yeah.
commit to it, you know. They'd follow it like 5 feet below it.
Hmm.
You'd see like six of them just following it and they wouldn't trigger, you know. And then you could pitch like a wacky rig or like a Ned
Oh,
rig
yep.
Helgermite in underneath it. So it was really like a bait and switch technique that
Yeah,
ended up
yeah.
being pretty cool. But yeah, same experience as you. Like I drove 10 hours thinking I was gonna get smoked by smallies and
Mhm.
largies on the York Glide, and we did get, you know, we caught plenty of fish on it, but
Yeah.
we definitely forced it. Do you get what I'm
Right. Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like they weren't just coming out of the woodworks to eat a glide.
Hmm.
And you know, we were with some other guys too who threw other glides, and they didn't want those
Mm.
either. You know, it was just not the bite. You know.
Yeah. Question for you about the spots, because I know you guys have a crazy spot fishery down there. Have you seen Eric Askey's like A-rig setups that he does, the clear fluorocarbon A-rig, I guess I want to call it, but it's not really an A-rig, the performance
I
fishing
don't think I
stuff?
have. No. Is it
Uh
kind of like the tornado rigs?
yeah, but his stuff is different here. I'll just hold up. So it's the same concept of the tornado rig, but so this is just his normal A rig, obviously the normal
Oh
style.
yeah, 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 yeah. I have seen that.
Have you seen the one with the bottom contact and the floating bait hanger?
No, I haven't. I've just seen that one,
Okay.
and just in passing on Instagram. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So we got the four blade A
I
rig,
saw
right?
you promote it. Is actually where I saw it.
Yeah.
Actually.
So we got this right here, just the four blades. So on this other one, I have it somewhere. This bottom one is, I think, 17 inches long, and it's a snap, and that is for a jig, a tube, a dark sleeper, anything that's gonna a Ned rig, anything to sink your bait down to the bottom. And then the center A rig, it's a stiff arm. This one would only be, I think it's 12 inches. That is so you can sink down a floating glide bait, a wake and crank, a tiny clash, anything. And so essentially what you're doing is you're fishing a floating bait on bottom where you could never do it before, and it's not going to get snagged up because this weight or this bait on bottom would break off before. So, dude, if you ever go back to the St. Lawrence, take a jig or a Ned rig and then drop like a floating nugget or a suspending nugget down in like 17 foot of water, and I guarantee you'll double up. I had it specifically for Lake St. Clair for our spring trip, but we didn't end up doing it this year. But dude, I was ready to try to mess some fish up on that
No,
thing,
that's
catching two at a
so
time, one on a
sweet.
swim bait. Oh, dude, it'd be so fun.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny how the systems all end up correlating together. But essentially, what it sounds like to me is he took the concept of a drop shot in his
Yep.
head and
Yeah.
just made it 60,000 times more badass.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
he uses it sorry, I'm trying to hang this A-rig back up. He uses it on Mille Lacs, so that's how he catches a lot of his big smallmouth on glide baits on Mille Lacs. Mille Lacs is like 13 foot all the way across. And yeah, it takes forever to sink a glide bait down, so why not just sink a glide bait down with a jig or a tube and just catch two fish at
Whip it down
once?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, that's sweet. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, it's a pretty sick idea. But I wanted to tell you about that because I know spots can get crazy, and if you can catch two at a time on a glide bait or a crank down or whatever else it may be, and then on a jig or a tube or something like that, dude, it'd be a hoot and a half.
No, yeah, and they're totally like that. I mean, that's you're totally on point with interpreting that for spotted bass.
Mhm.
That is exactly the type of deal they like. They're going to be schooled up
Yeah.
together. And it really only takes one to fire up. You hear the word fire them up all the time. Like if
Mhm.
you fire a school of spotted bass up, it's like firing a school of smallies up. I mean, it
Yeah.
really is. Like even maybe more
Mhm.
aggressive, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And they just go crazy. So having two baits, like, they love an A rig. Spots
Yeah.
are, well, all bass are infamous for an A rig, but spotted bass, especially on our lakes around here, come fall and winter, getting out on those main channel shoals, dude, I've caught five spotted bass on one A rig
Dude,
before.
that's
You know what I'm
crazy.
saying?
Yeah.
Like catching two or three is like part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not
Mhm.
like, oh my God, I caught three. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, they'll do that. It's
Yeah.
not, nobody's gonna be super surprised. So yeah, that's a great example of something that I should look into for especially our winter fishing. Because
Mhm.
for me, that especially those blades and the flash and stuff like
Mhm.
that is spotted bass go crazy for it,
Yeah.
specifically in the winter. And I
Mhm.
think largemouth are similar too. You just
Mhm.
get the spinner bait out in the early spring and the late fall, and they
Yeah.
love a spinner bait. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So yeah, no, that's
Dude,
that's really cool. I have to check it out more.
it'd be sick if you guys designed a double rig for like the Nugget or the 5.5 inch York, so you could fish them like at the same time, like how you would draw a four, how one is super long and the other one's short and stubby, so they don't actually connect, but you can fish them both at the same time. That would be sick.
Well, we another product idea that is in the making right now is just using nugget heads, and we
Oh.
have just like a screw lock
Mhm.
out of the back of the nugget,
Oh,
and
yep,
we're
yep.
developing a soft plastic to go on the back of it. So technically, what's going to happen is you're going to put your hook into the soft plastic, the nugget.
Mhm.
I mean, and it's going to be attached to a clamp, kind of like the front of the Citizen, how you open it
Yeah,
up and then you close
yep.
it. Same thing on the Nugget, and so it'll have a soft plastic off the back.
Mhm.
And yeah, we have a double donkey rig, and
That'd be
they're
sick.
weedless. Do you
Yeah,
get what I'm saying? You can cast
yeah.
them a mile. They want to swim like this because of the pressure and the movement of the head, but it has all that soft flap of,
That'd
and
be sweet.
it looks like a lunatic in the water at times when you're
Yeah.
really working it fast because
Yeah.
of that stinking fluke.
Yep.
So um yeah, that's something we're definitely already messing with. I just need some time to actually get out on the water and have some true proof of concept where I'm catching two spots at one time.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of going out on the water, we'll talk about the fishing you guys have been on lately. You posted, while we're recording this, you posted the one you caught on the trout colored York. I think, was that on Wednesday? Yesterday, maybe Thursday?
Tuesday, I think it was, but yeah.
Yeah. So was that like a recent fish, or is that a fish you've been sitting on for a week or two? Or like, how's the fishing been
No,
when
no,
you've
no.
gotten to
That
go
was
out?
Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, so Monday I got a window to fish. Um to where this week we weren't going to drop any 7-inch baits because we have a tackle warehouse, orders a bunch of baits from us.
Mhm.
And so I had been kind of procrastinating those a tad. And so this past weekend, I was like, told Mike, I was like, listen, if we get all of these tackle warehouse baits done, like we're going to fish all day Monday and we're not going to drop any 7-inch baits on Friday. And he was like, bet. And so me and him just got after it all weekend. We got those clear coated and drying. So Monday morning we went out, went to the Quality Mart, got our
Mhm. Yeah,
biscuit,
yeah.
5:30, the whole 9 yards, just like we traditionally do. And we got out there and we started fishing, and it was tough at first. Like I was out there right at sunrise,
Yeah.
and I was seeing really tiny threadfin shad bust
Mhm.
around, like just flicker around and stuff, but I wasn't seeing much action. And I was trying to scope them for a while and just getting absolutely nothing. And so, about an hour into the day, the sun's starting to come up. It's getting hot. I'm thinking, dude, we're out here to get swim bait content for our company, to be honest. Do you
Yeah.
get what I'm saying? Like, that's what we really need to do today. This is a nice, fun day, but if we could get one eat on the glide, then we could go fun fish for the rest of the day,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
we'll have our content. So I'm like, screw this. We're out in like 20 foot of water, scoping with jig and minnow and everything else, throwing a swim bait, sinking a swim bait down to them, everything. And we're just wasting our time. So I pull over to a dock that's near this bait that's flickering,
Mhm.
and I see those marks down there on scope, and I'm like, let's just bang the bank over here, dude. Like if there's fish shallow, they're gonna be on these docks and stuff like that. And so I start pitching, and like, I pitched like 8 or 10 times on one dock. I come around to the back of it, and a Lake Norman unicorn comes out, stinking 5 pound largemouth, just inhales the trout. And I'm like, what the hell have we been doing for the past
Yeah.
hour? Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is the stupidest shit ever. We should have just came out here and started flicking around
Yeah.
the structure and doing our glide bait thing. Like, why are we even out here trying to act like, we're on the MLF tour or something? That's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
stupid. That never helps you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yeah, well, I'm gonna finish fishing down this bank. Like I'm gonna hit all the docks down this bank now. So, and again, for anybody listening who's trying to understand how people get on really good swim bait patterns, I don't know how everyone else does it. I'm telling you, for me, it's just correlation. Like it's like, oh, I got bit on that dock. How about we fish the dock right next to it?
Mhm.
And then you fish the dock right next to it, and you get a follow or you don't. Usually, if I get a follow, I'm going to the next dock and the next dock and the next dock until I haven't seen anything for a while,
Mhm.
and that's swim bait fishing, how I've gotten decent at swim bait fishing. So we go a couple docks down, and I nail another 4 pound largemouth. And again, our lakes are not known for 4 to 5 pound largemouth.
Yeah.
They are in there for sure, but catching two of them in 15 minutes is pretty weird
Mhm.
that are that big. So I'm like, I look at Mike and I'm like, dude, let's just run our glide bait patterns that we like to run and just see if this is a thing. And we had the greatest day we've ever had. Middle of August, 87-degree water temperatures. I mean, everybody else is in 40 foot of water with a jig and minnow, just messing around or throwing a spoon or whatever. And dude, we're just flying around, beating the bank, beating structure, and really making accurate casts and focusing on the type of areas that we're in to make sure they do correlate to where we had seen fish earlier that day. Obviously, that's the fishing thing, but it wasn't completely random. But I'm running to the spots that I've seen fish eat a glide before and all this stuff, and they were just there. Like we caught 21 pounds, and that's the biggest bag I've ever caught on that lake. I caught four largemouth that went over 3.5 pounds, and you know they were smoking the trout colored York glide too, which we don't have
Yeah.
any trout within 100 miles of here, at least up in the Appalachian Mountains from where I am. But it's still about an hour and a half to two
Yeah.
hours driving at least. You know what I'm saying? So they've never seen a trout before. It was all just coincidence. I think that's an interesting topic to talk
Mhm.
about that I've always thought is kind of funny. Like, oh,
Yeah.
just throw a HUD. Like our buddy Andrew Swaim says that all the time. Like, what swim bait should I throw today? Just throw a HUD. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's his like little joke, but it's true. It works, and for some reason, I don't know if the patterns or the glare of trout colors just really give them all 100% positive vibes. They
Mhm.
obviously don't think it's a trout,
Yeah.
they but it's like, oh, that's for real a bait fish. Like
Mhm.
they see those tendencies and those colors often, even if it's not actually a trout. They see them in gizzards and threadfin and blueback
Yeah.
heron and bluegill and all of this stuff. And all they need is one positive cue and it's over if they're
Mhm.
hungry. You know what I'm saying? They're hungry. They're like, is this real? One positive cue and it's a wrap. So I thought it was super funny that I was catching them on the trout. The reason I was fishing the trout is because it was the only bait that I had that I knew for sure didn't have dull hooks
Right.
on the boat. Seriously, I had lost a bunch of fish with Andrew actually out. We were fishing a river. I had lost like four fish on the bait that was already tied on. Came
Mhm.
home and worked all weekend, and then that was still tied on Monday morning when we were about to go. And I was like, I'm not fishing that one again. And I looked in the boat and I was like, I'm gonna have to replace hooks and split rings on every single one of these baits if I really want to be confident. I was like, oh, the trout. They had brand new ST36s on it, and I was like, I'm gonna tie it on. And it ended up being great. So color choice, I don't think matters all that much, but it was pretty neat that it was on, the OG swim baiter color,
Yeah.
the trout. So that was
Yeah.
fun.
Heck yeah, man. Dude, I will say just because you're a bait builder, this is a promotional thing here, but have you checked out the Toit split ring players?
No, I haven't.
Dude.
I use Gamakatsu ones, but like not for any other reason other than they've just worked well for me. The little micro Gamakatsus.
So this is like the expensive package. Okay, so I will forewarn that the expensive one is like $200 for the set, but
Yeah, that's not.
It has every single
Ooh.
size from a size 1 to a size 12 split ring on here.
Oh yeah, you're definitely putting me on right now.
Dude,
I've never
all-
seen those, and
these are
I'm gonna have to look into those.
this is
I
all you got to
literally
do
have a
right here.
blister right
Look at
here,
this.
right now.
Oh, nope. You say goodbye to this. Dude, it's right here. So if you guys are watching this, it's just the point. It's got the point system right here. And then think of a UFO saucer. So instead of splitting the split rings apart, it's less invasive
Just
than a normal
separating
pair of
them.
split
Yeah.
rings. Yep, yeah. And all you got to do is that you take your little wrench here they send you, you unscrew it, screws right out. Say we're going for a bigger size, we're gonna go for musky or something. So we're using a big size split ring. You just grab your bigger size UFO. I don't think it's called a UFO, but that's what I call it because that's what it looks like. You screw it in and boom, you're
Yeah.
ready to go.
That's
Dude,
dude, that is sweet. I have to look
CNC,
at those for sure.
dude, they are sick. We have a discount through them. I cannot remember. It's terrible of me. I think it's 10 or 15%. If you guys are listening, you obviously know because the ad already played. But dude, super sick split rings. They come in like four different colors. Yeah, toy fishing. They do. So I have actually a couple of their things. These are just the split rings. They do make just a normal standard one size split ring plier. They do the multiple sizes, but those are only like 35 bucks, so they're probably like $40 with the discount and with the shipping. Steel. I have their pliers. They have a stubby nose set of pliers that are freaking mean. I love those things. And then they have a pair of scissors that I use for all my line. I do not use my teeth anymore. Dude, these things cut through 65-pound Power Pro like nobody's business, dude. They are freaking sharp and they are mean.
Well,
But
dude, that's
just had to
sweet.
plug that real quick because they are so,
No, let
so
me tell
freaking
you,
nice.
one of the most underrated things in fishing in general, but especially in swim baiting when we fish all different sizes of baits, is
Mhm.
the tools. And
Yeah.
like I hang out with a couple, like I call them tool heads. Like for instance, this stinking pin right here, like my buddy Curcio gave this to me. And it's like a copper pin, it's like
Yeah.
60 bucks. He gave it to me as a gift. But they're just into like all that like super
Hmm.
functional,
Yeah.
pay good money for super
Yep.
functional stuff. And yeah, split rings and all the tools and stuff.
Hmm.
I'm not fully there yet, but some of the dudes around me are completely hip and I want to get into it because like I said, I literally have a
Oh,
blister that's
yep.
been a blood blister for about 3 weeks now that
Yeah.
every time we go to put split rings on baits to test them, that's what it's from. It's
Mm.
me going like this
Yeah.
constantly with my split ring pliers. And, when you're pushing through 300 baits
Yeah.
in, a couple weeks time, like, I mean, dude, that's a lot of split because then we take them off and then we
Yep.
box them. So it's not just like putting them on. You got to
Hmm.
put the hook on the split ring on there, then take them off, detach
Yeah.
them and put them in the box for the people to be
Yeah.
presentable. So it's a lot more than just one time per hook.
Mhm.
So yeah, I got to look into those for sure. That's pretty sick.
Dude, they are so freaking nice. They hit me up when we were talking, and I was like, I will say single-handedly getting that set up, getting the multiple set of split ring plier noses or just the split rings in general, having a nice pair of split ring pliers has changed me into a guy who actually cares about my hooks. If you guys have listened to the other 196 episodes, you know that I've been a pretty hook delinquent. I'd never change hooks out, never change split rings out. I just fish it until they rust off. But now. Dude, now I don't have to worry about that $5 pair of split ring pliers I got at Bass Pro 4 years ago that are rusted closed. Like these things are freaking
Right.
kick ass, and I use them a lot. I use all the tools quite a lot, and I had to mention that because whenever I talk to a bait builder, whether it's on here in person, I'm always like, check these out. They are freaking legit. You know, use my code, don't use my code.
No,
I
I'm
don't care,
buying a
but they're
pair.
they're
I'm
freaking legit.
100% buying a pair when we get off of this. You got to shoot me a text
Yeah,
so I can get that 10% off you were talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure. But
yeah. But yeah, they're
I got to
CNC'd
use
in
the bathroom.
England. No, you're good. Yeah, here, let me pause this real quick. Alrighty. Alrighty, we're back from the little podcaster's room. So we were just talking about how you guys were just fishing out on this lake, catching these fish in sweltering. I think that's the right word. I think I used that correctly. Just absolutely
Definitely.
essentially not a good time outside, being outside. So you guys are obviously catching good fish, 21 pounds, pretty decent for August, I would say, in a lot of the country. In Michigan, you'd win every single weeknighter in big boy
Right,
tournament out
right.
here with that much weight. So, like, what would you say? We were kind of talking about fishing shallow. Is that what you would recommend for a lot of guys to do? Like, this time of year when the water's hot like this, like maybe even like with a glide bait, like how would you recommend guys to maybe put together a similar bite in the same predicament that you guys were in, fishing out deep, sonar, and maybe not getting the results you think you could have doing something else?
Right. Yeah, I definitely think the biggest thing for us around here specifically, or what I found in the summer before, the summers before, especially when it comes to a glide bait, which is what we're specifically talking about, is you have to find those most opportune, juicy ambush points. They could be the size of the table I'm sitting at right now, or they could be, 100, 200, a half a mile long. However, there's ways that current flows, right? We all know that when the water temperature gets hot, current's a big deal. They want to be in that oxygenated water. So if you have current, I'm going there. That's why you guys on the river with the paddle boards and stuff like that, like usually do well in the summer fishing a glide bait, because these fish are still getting a lot of oxygen even if the water's warm. So it gives them the ability and the energy to still move around. However, at Norman, we didn't really have that option. So for me, I'm looking for 10-foot flats off the bank. So, from bank to starting to drop off to get deep. Like I'm really looking for, a lot of these professional guys would call it a drain or a ditch, right?
Mhm.
Where on both sides of you down a creek, it really, dips out on you. On a lot of these man-made lakes where they're building docks, like they dredge the docks. Do
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying? So that you
Yep.
can put a boat in there year round and everything's fine and all of this stuff. So like dredge docks for us is a huge deal because these bass have the opportunity to get to cooler, deeper water, except for these brim and these shad are still like moving up near the surface of the water. The shad are over deep water and shallow. The brim are in shallow water and obviously shallow. So there's still a huge ambush point using the surface of the water or using structure. Um, and so, like I said, when we started our day, I got out there, I started fishing a glide, but as I scan to the right, I see all this bait on my live scope and I see all these bass on my live scope. And I started wasting a lot of time, because I'm not an MLF professional. And I don't think many of us are. I think a lot of people would like to say they are, but once you got next to them on live scope, I think
Yeah.
you'd find out really fast that they're very, very meticulous on how they use it and the baits that they throw and the presentations they give. And I haven't spent, I'm a glide baiter, I'm a swim baiter. So I've had awesome days doing that. But I tell you, when I'm really looking for a swim bait bite this time of year, it is a major distraction, like
Mm.
having live scope. The one positive before, I say bad things about it. The one positive is it lets you know that there is fish in the area, right? You see the bait, you see the bass. So at least you're at a good starting point right there. However, my entire game plan for after I started catching those fish was to hit as many opportunistic spots as I possibly could in the day.
Mm.
So I'm going to everything that looks the juiciest, that I've caught the biggest fish at, that there's current flowing out, where I find colder water, where there's a bunch of laydowns over deep water. Do you get what I'm saying? And the clip that
Mm.
you were talking about, where that one came out, that was a
Yeah.
laydown that was kind of on that 5 to 10 foot
Yeah.
flat, but the end of it kind of branches down into deeper water. And that bass was sitting, off the ledge on, halfway up suspended the tree
Yeah.
in that deeper water, but he was still able to, patrol the bottom and
Mm.
patrol the surface. And he's going for anything that he can find. I'm sure if I threw a jig in there, he might have gone and got that too. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, it's about the most opportunistic bite. Live scope is gonna make you absolutely ruin your day with a swim bait this time of year, unless you're in a really niche scenario. For instance, like you're on Lake Fork and you're just fishing like stumps.
Mhm.
right? Well, you can see the fish on the stump and you fish to the stump, and that'll help you, and you can kind of diagnose which stumps are where or whatever. Again, that's a very niche scenario. Most of us don't have trees and stumps for hundreds of miles
Yeah.
down a lake. Like, that's not how it goes, and it's very easy to find your targeted areas once you start to understand fishing and what bass do in general.
Mhm.
And I think that, if you could catch them on a jerkbait or a jig, and you have this time of year, that's where you need to go throw your glide.
Mhm.
Like, I don't care what live scope says. The amount of times that I've caught a glide bait fish with live scope completely dead empty, there's nothing on live scope, right?
Mhm.
I pitch out, and all of a sudden something off the bottom appears and comes and destroys my bait. If I was, you know, counting on live scope to show me the fish and to cast to the fish, I would have never caught that fish because I would have never
Yeah.
cast it. And it's about having that bait in the water. These fish come from really, really far amounts of space to eat these baits sometimes, especially in clear water in the summer when they're hungry. And, like, if he's tucked up behind that dock piling, you don't see him there on scope. Don't let that discourage you. Pitch on that dock 10 times. Do you get what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
And that's been a huge factor for me, is like not giving up because of scope, or not using scope as a crutch. Like,
Yeah.
no, scope is just the thing that gives me my secondary reasoning for being there if I'm using it, right? So, like, I'm fishing and I'm gonna fish the way I would fish with no scope, and I'll peek over at scope and be like, "Oh, there's a ball of bait. We should just keep on going." Right? So
Mhm.
it's kind of a check mark for me. I think that if you're using scope like a jig and minnow for a swim bait, then you're basically learning how to shoot point three pointers like granny style,
Yeah.
when in reality you never go to the NBA like that. Like, you're never going to become a goaded swim baiter by only fishing on live scope. You're going to really crutch yourself, and you're going to turn yourself off to the bait that you're fishing, because you're going to get denied a lot, and these fish are
Yeah.
not going to be willing, and they haven't been seeing things come through in the way that your glide is going to come through at such depths, like sinking it down to them or whatever, like what Milligan does, or what these guys do. They're clip farming, dude. They're on a pile that has 1,000 fish on it that they could throw, their wiener in there and jiggle it
Yeah.
around, and it would eat. So
Yeah.
they're throwing a swim bait in there instead, because that's the coolest content. And no disrespect to Milligan at all, he's a beast. I'm not saying that. I'm just
Mhm.
saying, he's a content creator and he wants the
Yeah.
content, so he could throw whatever he wants in that brush pile and it'd be fine. If you, as a new swim baiter, take that and try and apply it to you, you will fail, because we're not Milligan. Do you get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? We don't know
Yeah.
where 10 pounders, 5 10 pounders are on a brush pile in Lake Ivy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've fished Lake Norman. I've The biggest fish I've ever caught is 6.5 pounds. Do you get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if I went out there and did that on Norman and all I caught was 1.5 to 2 pounders, that means nothing to me. Doesn't give me content. It's not the coolest swim bait fish. I'm catching it 10 feet underneath the water. I feel like it's a kind of a finesse, for
Yeah.
instance, to fish to live scope, and I think it's detrimental to the new people getting into glide baiting. Being able to see windows and areas and lines and angles and be focused on those is 1,000 billion times more important than seeing a fish eat your bait. Understanding where they could be, pitching there, flipping there, even if it's only 15 feet off the boat, and you just, like, your story,
Yeah. Yeah.
12 feet in front of you. Like, it's about what you see. If you were staring at live scope, chances are you would have scanned over him and never even
Mhm.
seen him at all, and because
Yeah.
he was the only fish on that sandy flat, and or you would have thought he was a carp, or whatever, because it's the only fish you've seen, right?
Mhm.
But instead, you had your eyes on the water, you were
Yeah.
focused, you saw the fish, you flipped to in front of him, which is a big deal. Like, where are
Mhm.
they going to be looking out from?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when I'm approaching a dock, I'm approaching all four posts on that dock as if they're sitting looking this way, or sitting looking
Mhm.
this way, or sitting looking this way, and
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
perpendicular casting to them, right?
Mhm.
and I'm imagining in my head, and like there's like this whole imagination of what's underneath that dock, and that's what made me good at swim bait fishing was that imagination of, oh, okay, I've seen this scenario before. I'm gonna cast like this and work my bait like this, and it has everything to do with a true boxing match between me and whatever fish could possibly see my next cast. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? What would I do if I was a bass and saw this bait 10 feet off the dock and it's 90-degree water?
Yeah.
Probably, you know what I'm saying? But if it's 1 foot away from that dock
Mhm.
or 1 foot away from that super dark shaded area, they'll come get it. So making multiple casts or reeling in fast before you get the follow has been a big deal for me this time of year. And all of those things are on live scope. They follow and you continue to try and trigger and you
Yep.
continue to try and trigger and you never see the fish. You don't even know if it was a bass. Do
Mhm.
you get what I'm saying? Like you don't even
Yeah, yeah.
know if it was a striper or a bass or a catfish. Like, and if you're gonna waste all your time all day doing that, when you could be speeding around, fishing to the most opportunistic areas that you see with your eyes, that we've all been trained to fish since we were picked up a pole for the first time. Do
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Fishy stuff is fishy stuff. Like for a glide bait, for a jig, for whatever, fishy stuff is fishy stuff. So fish fishy stuff, run through it, make good casts, stay focused on it, and as soon as you aren't seeing anything, go find more of it somewhere else.
Hmm.
And as you start to get bit, super easy to pattern from there because you see it with your eyes, you feel it with your hands, you get in tune and in rhythm with catching swim bait fish. It's not the same as fishing a jerk bait or fishing a jig and minnow or fishing a jig. Like there is similarities. You can get that
Hmm.
rhythm. Everybody's been the dude on the front of the boat catching all the fish and his buddy fishing the same bait can't, or vice versa.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So it is similar in that sense, but I find often that it's a rhythm, a feeling. Like the more confident I get, the more fish I catch. Like seriously, like when I'm like, oh, that was a lucky one. I didn't think we were gonna do that. And I'm like, oh, let's go here. And then
Yeah.
I roll up there and I am casting as dialed as I can possibly be because I just caught that fish and I get more confident. So then I get better at swimming my bait. I get better at making good casts and slowing down. And then it produces more fish. And I really think that a lot of these guys who are big time or on tour are hurting because they're beginner swim baiters that know how to find fish so well that
Hmm.
they can get in these fish to eat a swim bait when that's not typically what's going to work for the average person trying to get into it, or and they don't even have live scope. I'm blessed to have a boat and live scope because of my
Yeah.
guiding and stuff, but most people don't even have that. And I think it's so far from swim baiting is the one thing in bass fishing that I think is the furthest away from ever needing live scope. You
Mm.
do not need it. Like most tournaments, you catch 5 fish on a swim bait, you got a pretty good chance to beat the dude who caught 50 fish out in the channel. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Um, and so I think having that mindset of like less is more and like more cast and more time on the water and burning around without sitting on the same fish, without sitting on the same ball of bait, will just enlighten everyone who swim bait fishes. And again, I'm no guru. This is just my own
Mhm.
experience that if I'm gonna live scope fish, I need to fish. If I'm gonna fish swim baits, I'm gonna fish like a citizen or something. Fish, oh, there's 5 fish on a brush pile. Let me sink this down to do what it's meant to do. Do you get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Trying to force a glide bait on live scope to do something it's not really designed to do is gonna create a lot of, you know, dead moments for you that don't really attribute to anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys we see on tour, especially, are so good at catching fish on forward-facing sonar because they've spent so much time up with a minnow or a jerkbait or a crankbait. They
Oh
know
yeah.
fish behavior so well. Like you said, they know if they roll up to a rock pile or a sunken tree or something, they know. Like just by kind of looking at those fish and seeing if they're chasing each other or chasing bluegill, or take one cast with a square bill, and if they chase that thing back up, they're like, okay, these things are fired up. Like I can fish a hinkle trout or a hinkle shad more so. I can fish a hinkle
I could
shad
fish
or anything.
whatever I want to
Yeah,
fish.
yeah.
Like
And as
literally,
long as I
I've
can,
I've been there plenty. You know,
yeah, yeah,
you can
they
throw
they know
anything you
they can
want
pull
at
up
some of
to a
the fish
spot.
I've caught.
Yeah, they can pull up to a spot and they can know, like, okay, like turn the camera on. I'm gonna pull out the Hinkle shad and I'm just gonna sink this thing down into a brush pile, give it 5 or 6 reel turns. We're gonna have 3 or 4 big fish following it, and they're gonna fight over it, and one of them's gonna eat it 10 feet off that pile, and it's gonna make a really cool video. Like I think they can not necessarily play the system, but they can plan out a day of content if the fish are in the right mood like that, and they can pick up on it
Right.
with
hmm
sonar.
I mean, it's clip farming is what we call it. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like, and everybody's guilty of it. Like, it's funny and it's fun to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's see if we can throw this penis spoon out here and get bit because they're eating spoons so crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can do whatever you want to do when the fish are fired up like that. Do you get what I'm saying? So
Oh yeah, yeah.
swim baiting to fired up fish is completely different than swim baiting for 99% of it. 99% of swim baiting is not swim baiting to fired up fish. And I think a lot of the content that gets pushed, that's the craziest content, is, you know, when fish are really fired up, because that's when it's the most fun. Like some of Marshall's clips, and this has nothing to do with
Yeah.
live scope, but just on the paddleboard in the marina when 10 fish come out, I mean, dude, that's the best thing that you can get. But these pros with their sponsors of live scope, Garmin, whatever,
Mhm.
they record their live scope. They throw a 10-inch hinkle trout or a 10-inch hinkle shad. You can see that shad so good in the water because it is 10 inches. You can see the blob come off the pile, and it like gives this false narrative that that's like a real thing for most of the country. Like I know the guys out in Clear Lake right now are doing that, and that's the deal. That actually is the deal. But again, that's one lake in the whole United States that's something that someone was smart enough and spent enough time on to really grow and find out, okay, this is what they actually want because we've thrown
Yeah.
everything else and they don't eat it as good, right?
Yeah.
Whereas my whole point is just go fishing. Like you hear pros say this all the time. Like, man, my bite that I practiced with went away and I just went fishing. And they'll say, I just brought it back to the old days and said I'm just gonna have fun today and I'm just gonna go find stuff that looks good and fish it, and they do well. You know what I mean? Because our intuition is good. Our intuition goes to our confidence and what we like and what
Yeah.
we've caught fish at before. And so you have the experience to move forward. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Uh,
Whereas on live scope, you're like, hitting questions.
yeah. Speaking of pros, forward facing sonar, that sort of thing, the classic next year is gonna be in Knoxville. How far is that from you guys? Probably like 9 hours, give or take.
About three.
Oh, wow. Okay. Are
Yeah,
you
we're right
guys
there.
you guys
My whole
plan on
family,
going?
hey, good old Rocky Top. That's my whole family. We're all from Harrison Bay on Chickamauga
Okay.
and just outside of between Chattanooga and Knoxville,
Okay.
Dayton area. And so, yeah, 100%. We will have a giant booth and a giant showing of my family and
That's
all of this
sick.
stuff. That's going to be a big cahoot for us at the Bassmaster for sure.
Sweet. So do you guys,
You
yeah,
should you should
obviously you
come
plan on
down. You
going.
should come down and come to my house. We'll fish and then we'll head to the classic. And then you could stay in the hotel room with us or get a hotel room near us and do
Yeah.
your thing. And then but all us
Yeah,
hang
yeah.
out together and split the costs. Do you get what I'm
Yeah, dude,
saying?
for sure. I'd be down for that. I've never been to anything. Actually, the elites are, well, the elites and MLF are both over on the west side or east side of the state right now, which is like the elites are on St. Clair, and then MLF is on Saginaw Bay.
Saginaw.
Neither
Yeah.
too far away. I thought about going over there tomorrow for a weigh-in. I know Maddie, I kind of talked to Maddie a little bit. Maddie made the cut, so he's going to be weighing in tomorrow. Alton, I think
Love that,
fished
dude.
kind of good. I think Alton fished kind of good today, so I was like, maybe I'll go over that way tomorrow, spend my afternoon. I've never been to an event like that. I've never been to a big tournament like that before, so I'm like, that'd be kind of cool to go see these guys bring in a big bag, bring my camera and my big lens, and maybe get some pictures and stuff too. So I don't know, that's on the table. But dude, the classic would be sick. I'd be so down for that. And I think it's cool seeing how
I'm
much the
doing the
classic has
classic a
grown.
thousand percent.
Yeah,
I'm doing the
it's
classic a
cool
thousand percent.
it's cool to see how much like the swim bait scene has grown into the classic. Like, yeah, it's kind of interesting to see all like the big name, like the big branded ABS baits that are kind of maybe knockoffs or not original or just kind of plain or boring. But it's cool to see these, garage builders with ABS baits or these garage builders with booths at such a large event. Like, I know Wayne from Universal will be there. I'm sure maybe Throwback will be there. I guarantee KGB, Bull Shad, Clutch. Like there's going to be a lot of
Those
stuff
three that
there.
you just named, KGB, Bullshad, and Clutch, are like Stephen A. Smith and Snoop Dogg. Dog.
Yeah,
I don't know how they have a life, man.
yeah,
They
yeah,
are everywhere all the time,
yeah,
which like I'm inspiring. I'm
mhm,
trying to get there for sure. But
yeah.
dude, it is crazy. I'm always like, dude, how do these guys have any time to
Right.
themselves? Like they are absolutely everywhere all the time doing everything, which, respect to them for that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. They'll definitely be there and you don't even have to ask them. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's cool to see that like style or like that part of the scene growing in like the mainstream fishing thing. But it also is kind of like, man, it's interesting that you have to go to a big fishing expo to kind of get to. I don't want to make it sound like these guys don't do small events because they do. Buka goes to freaking I think every single fishing expo in the spring in every single state on the east side of the country. Like he's all over the place. But like
100%. Yeah.
outside, so we have Toxic Day this fall, which is pretty cool. Toxic Day 5. We're taking a year off the gathering, so we don't have that, and I don't think Underground's doing anything. So outside of Toxic Day, really the classic is like the only thing we have is like a quote unquote community to go to and like get to hang out in real life and get to see our online friends and see these bait makers and stuff, which is fine. But it's like the swim bait world is growing so much and like so fast that I'm surprised there's not more like outings. I know like a lot of the Texas community is all super duper close. Like they do pop-ups and all sorts of cool stuff like that. But there's really outside of Toxic Day and the Gathering, there's no like big get-togethers that people plan to put stuff on to get everybody together in the community, which is fine. Like that's so much work and everything, but it would still be cool to have maybe one or two like smaller events. Obviously, being the first year or second year, they're going to be smaller events, but like just setting the stones to have these events in the future is just I think something that's going to happen pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I agree. Like, I mean, I think you can attest to this by talking about potentially going to the tournament tomorrow. I mean, this is what we do. Like
Yeah.
this is who we are, and a lot of us are weird or whatever to most of society. Like the fact that we would pay $130 for a resin bait or any of that is far misunderstood by anyone outside of our community. And I do think that like you said, it's not that big of a deal. Like I do think it is a big deal because you know we have so much love to give each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like most people in the swim bait community are rooting for each other. Do you
Hmm.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to get together and get that pat on the back from a dude who respects what you do or the part of the country that you fish at or whatever, we all have things that we do well because we have access to them. And then we all have things that we aspire to be like, oh man, one day I want to go do that. Like we were talking about the St. Lawrence and St. Clair. Like still haven't had an amazing glide bait bite up there, but the videos I've seen and stuff, like that's why I went because like those guys who do that up there, I want to be like them. You know what I'm saying? And they would say the same thing as I want to come down to North Carolina and catch spotted bass, and so there's just so many correlations of passion
Hmm.
that there's so much information that needs to be out there and so many handshakes that need to happen and put a name with a face and the amount of people on Swimbait Universe that I feel like I know that I've never met. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't, like I want to shake their hand and, talk to them. So it's funny you brought that up, but Yeah, actually, this next spring, I've been talking to Kyle at Throwback and Jake Rowanowski at Row Innovations, and I even brought it up to you a little, but it's actually gone beyond that now to where I
Yeah.
think we're gonna Throwback and I are gonna call it, if we get the details nailed down. It's definitely not nailed down, but
Mhm.
if anybody's listening and this excites you, it'll help us nail it down if you let us know that you heard this. But we were talking about, briefly about doing a home and away is what we would call it. So we would
Yeah.
do one in North Carolina and one up by the guys at Throwback, in that Northeast area. And dude, I think it could be really cool if we could get some. It'd be every builder in the world, no exclusiveness, no nothing. You'd have the ability to get the baits that you really want to get. We have some awesome builders here in North Carolina that would, hopefully be willing to come out, that are pretty exclusive, like Tater Hog and Piz. And,
Yeah.
again, I haven't spoke to them, but if we could pull it off, I mean, I don't understand why we wouldn't.
Mhm.
And I think that who else is going to do it if we don't just gather a community that starts an annual get together, and we still support going to Swim Bait Universe events when they have them, and we use every opportunity we can to get together as much as possible. That's something that I think is a drive behind, like, my company, like, is the people, and when I'm just in the shop and I'm just sanding and I'm just painting, like, that gets old. Like,
Yeah.
I want to shake the people's hands and get some juice from them to
Mhm.
continue, and they want to see my new products and they want to see other people's new
Yeah.
products, and they want to piss bait for sure, and
Mhm.
all this stuff, and finding a way to make it work at a reasonable price for people to travel in and stay, and having a place to stay. I talked to people at the Lake Norman State Park. We can get the campground out there. So, again, very tentative right now, but this is kind of like the first public talk that we've ever had of it. And you make a great point. I mean, why not? Why can't we, as swim baiters, have a vacation every once in a while to go hang out with people like minded like us and come up with ideas and you know, prevail and create some momentum for the swim baiting community going into the next year, year after year after year, which is why we're all here right now. Um, you know, doing what we're doing is because of the passion for other people who love swim baiting. If catching a swim bait fish wasn't cool, then I wouldn't be here and you wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
It is cool. It's like BMX or football or anything else. Like, being good at stuff and enjoying watching people be good at stuff and then wanting to be as good as the OGs is a sport. And
Mhm.
that's really what swim baiting is. It's a passion and a sport that, you know, we don't stop. So we definitely need to get together and do something. If it doesn't happen this spring, I vow that I am going to together an annual event in 2026 for sure, even if it's just us, and
Yeah.
anybody who wants to come can come, because I think it's important, and I think it's important to the swim bait community being on the same page, understanding, that unspoken code of conduct of respect and all of this stuff comes from shaking someone's hand. It's so easy over the internet to
Yeah.
blah, say whatever you want to say, be disrespectful in every way that you want to be
Yeah.
disrespectful. But when you meet these people, you shake their hands, that cuts all that out the window because we're all
Mhm.
just good people who love fish and,
Yeah.
you know, love life. So I think it's
Yeah.
important to get in front of people, in this digital age.
Mhm.
It's kind of like a lost thing to, like, be out and about with people you don't know. Like, I feel like society's making that weird now, but
Yeah.
it's so cool to me. That's what I
Yeah.
want to be cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, it's so freaking sweet. I think uh I've been heme hawing about we talked about what I want to do for the next year, what I've been 6 months or whatever, how busy I've been. But I've been like kicking it over for a while. I just got to pick out a weekend, but I want to do a Michigan meetup where I have a bunch of guys come up here. We've got a park right down the road from my house, which is right down the road from a pretty decent lake. Like I talked to my dad. He's like, yeah, like if you buy the brisket, like I'll smoke the brisket, like have a big brisket dinner, and the next morning everybody just go out and biggest fish, maybe win a giveaway like, or like a raffle or whatever else it may be. Like nothing crazy where I have to pull
I'll,
permits, but just have
I'll
a
be
good
there,
time.
and the winner can get 5 York glides for free.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that. I'll go ahead and vow that right now. You put that together. You let us know when. I'm there. Schmike's there for sure. And I'll put together a prize pack from just us, and I'm sure
yeah,
everybody would be down to do it too, throwback and everybody else. So
yeah,
you could
yeah,
probably get a pretty awesome like first, second, third
yeah.
prize giveaway thing. And I'm there, dude. Like that's what I want. Like I
Mhm.
think the one thing that your casting is missing right now more than anything is that community interaction. We've never been a part of a Swim Bait Universe event.
Yeah,
We've never, gone. We've never been able to benefit from as far as the friendships and
yeah,
the personal interactions
mhm,
from all of the OG Swim Bait fun gatherings and
yeah,
the underground. And I've never been to Toxic Day. I would love to go, but it's across the country from us.
yeah, yeah.
So having
Literally.
an East Coast literally directly across the country from us. So having an East Coast toxic day, because
Mm.
Caesar is a beast, by the way. Everything he does, I just really enjoy. I think he's a great dude. And those vibes, like I would love to bring those over to the East
Yeah.
Coast, like the West Coast vibe is what swim baiting is, kind of like skating or
Hmm.
whatever else. Like if you can skate and you like glide baits, like come on. We don't
Yeah,
care who
yeah,
you are. We don't care what you look like. We don't,
yeah.
we don't care what what language you speak. Hell,
Hmm.
Japan, it doesn't matter. Like we just
Yeah.
love the same thing. And yeah, I think it's important. If you did a Scales and Tails Day, I'm there. I'd love for you to come to, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
the events here and anybody listening, like you don't even have to ask. Like you are welcome. 100%. Everybody's welcome.
Yeah. If you guys made it this far, and that's something that you guys are interested in, shoot Caleb a message, shoot me a message, drop it on the comments on the video if you're watching it on YouTube or see this on Instagram or whatever else. Just like show us that they're like, because people always talk about wanting stuff like this, but maybe they aren't able to make it or something. But just show that there's interest, that this is something that you guys want to see in the community. This is something that you want to go participate in, go hang out with everybody. Maybe you don't have a boat, so you can't fish, but you still want to go hang out and shake people's hands and see baits in person, swim them and buy them from the people, hand to hand. Like just show that that's something that you guys want, and obviously Caleb and everybody else behind the scenes will do their best to make that stuff happen. But there just has to be some sort of interest in an event like this before they
Motivation.
pour, yeah, before they pour, money, sweat, tears, and time. Time being the biggest thing. Obviously, that's one thing you can never make more of. Like as long as there's interest and that's something that people want, that the community wants, like then it's a no-brainer. It'll happen. It just comes down to people like having interest in an event like this taking place.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. If y'all could reach out to me, I mean, I have talked to a lot of local people around me. I know we could get an event together, but to get the campground and the permit to have a tournament and all of those things are things that I'm willing to do. I'm willing to put in the time and waste my own money
Mhm.
doing that because it means that much to me for real.
Yeah.
Um, that it'll make it definitely happen if y'all reach out for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like if I get a
Definitely.
couple people who are like out of towners saying they're in, then I'm in
Yeah.
100%. So yeah, I definitely agree. I think that's an important thing. And also the other thing is I want to give away a 7-inch York glide on your behalf again. Like we
Heck
did a nugget last time, we'll do a
yeah.
seven
Yeah.
inch
Yeah.
York glide this
Yep.
time. Um, and you can do like a whatever you want to do. You can make it whatever you want. But I'm
Should,
gonna
should we
give
do
away a 7-inch short glide as
should we
well.
do a code word? We did a code word last time, right?
Yeah, we did.
What code word did we do last time? I can't remember. I remember somebody and I did crawler.
It was something
What did
funny though.
Yeah, hold on. I gotta scroll back through here and find this. But I will say, you had sent me a couple baits a couple weeks ago, and actually, guys on Patreon just had a chance to win one. And Mr. Kyle Hansen over there in California won it. And I sent it out, I think, on Tuesday. So there should be a York glide showing up to California probably on Monday. And he's a fishy guy, so hopefully he'll get. He was pumped. He's like, maybe I've seen this bait before, but like, what is it? The paint on it's super sick. Like, I want to know what this is so I can look it up and see like how I'm gonna fish this thing. And I showed him and everything. He's like, oh, I'm freaking excited about that. So hopefully we see some fish from Mr. Kyle Hansen. And I've got two more to give away on the Patreon too over the next couple weeks. So if you guys are not subscribed to the Patreon, there's a $5 and a $10 tier. Whatever you guys enter automatically enters you into the giveaways. We got a whole bunch of stuff. I got a whole list of things to give away over the next couple months. So if that's something you guys are interested in, obviously check that out. But yeah, hold on. I got to multitask here. Scroll
I
down.
got some 9.5 inches coming for you too. So after
Oh,
those two couple York
dude.
glides that you have are
Yeah.
gone, then it'll be a 9.5 inch deal
Heck
as
yeah.
well.
Wow, we talked a
For anybody
long time ago.
listening, Adrian is the man.
Oh, okay. So episode 171. So that was January. So the beginning of the year, you and I recorded it probably literally the beginning of 2025. So about 8 months ago, probably pretty close to the day here. What was the code word we did? What did everybody randomly comment on here? Oh, okay. Yours and I's code word was crawler. For some reason, I thought that was somebody else. Okay, so it was you and I.
Okay, yeah. That's because we're coming out. Like the other thing that I'm working on right now is a crawler
Okay,
too.
okay.
But that's just been a little bit harder to develop since we last talked than I
Yeah.
thought it would be, mainly just because of the equipment that comes with it. I can make it sweet, but I have to sand the equipment down that I have right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Hmm.
hey, we can make a crawler again though. I'm totally cool.
Dude, okay, I will. I have the perfect word, but I have to ask how to pronounce it. I almost asked you before we started recording, but it slipped my mind. Your hat, for anybody who is not watching, if you guys have ever bought a thing of bananas before, it's a yellow banana hat. It's a corduroy yellow banana hat with the sticker of the lady with the bananas on her head. Do you know how to say that word? Chiquita? Chiquita?
Yeah, I think it's Chiquita.
Okay, if you guys comment Shaquita on the Instagram or Facebook post, wherever you guys are listening, you guys can, or YouTube, all of those comments will get entered into the giveaway. If you guys are watching, you've had to notice the hat because I noticed it as soon as you got on the call, and I was like, that is such a sick hat. But I didn't want to ask you because I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's banana, like it's the banana brand. But then I'm like, well, maybe it's like a funny, like somebody's making a play on it. So I've been looking at it, and I'm like 90% sure that
No,
that's the
it
banana
is. It's
brand.
just straight up the banana brand, dude. I had to get it, and I fish with it all the time, just as like that funny banana joke out
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
lake. And
So,
it gets me a lot of questions for sure.
So if you guys commented, it's Chiquita. If you guys spell anything close to that, we'll know what you're going for. People in the comments will have no idea, but we'll know. This episode's dropping on Monday, so maybe I'll give it a week. And Sunday evening, I'll compile Sunday evening what if it is at the 17th, I think. I'll compile all the comments on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, compile all that stuff, and then I'll go live and I'll post the winner on there. And then whenever we get the bait squared away, obviously, we'll get you guys all squared away too. I'm so glad that I mentioned your hat because that's such a good code word that nobody's going to have no idea what it means until they get this far.
Oh, absolutely. That's the best code word of any giveaway of all time, for sure, hands down. Chiquita, dog.
Shaquita. Make it like a Shaquita banana hat or something like that. Whatever you guys want to comment, just as long as it's
You
Shaquita,
can
it
comment
works.
banana hat too if you want.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Heck yeah, dude. Caleb, where can the people follow you guys if they're not following you already?
So we're on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. It's York Casting underscore code co. York
Perfect.
Casting underscore co.
Perfect.
And on YouTube, we're York Casting underscore TV. And yeah, we got the video that we talked about from today,
Yep.
where I caught the largemouth on Lake Norman on Monday. That'll be coming out soon on YouTube, the full length video. So all the things that I talked about today, you can go fact check and look at in that video and see that everything I was talking about is for real. From my experience, and I truly
Yeah.
believe in it, and you'll see in that video the excitement and passion for sure.
Heck yeah, dude. Website. What's the website?
Yorkcasting.com. Every
Okay.
Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, we drop something. So nuggets, York glides, the 7 inch or the 9.5 inch, and you guys, Instagram is the best way to keep up with us. You can subscribe to our yorkcasting.com email program on our website, and you'll get updates constantly about what we're doing, what's coming out, what colors, all of it. So, if you're interested in getting a York Glide, the best thing you can do is follow us on Instagram or go to our website and subscribe to our email subscriber page, and we'll always keep you updated on those two fronts from those.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, Caleb, that was awesome. We talked about a lot of stuff that like you've picked up on in the last, year of fishing your area with your baits being the key thing that hopefully people listening to this after they pick up a bait or after they win the banana hat bait, they can go out and put your tactics in use on their lakes and kind of maybe find a bite that they didn't know was ever really a thing because they're staring at their forward facing sonar or they're trying to fish out deep when they should be
Right.
maybe up shallow fishing docks and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't ever pass up the thing that looks sexy to your eyes because LiveScope is telling you a lie. Just fish it, move through it quickly, move to somewhere else, and you'll find success on a swim bait eventually by just moving around and fishing different things for sure.
Heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah, man. Well, no better time to wrap this thing up than right now and put a bow on it. Thank you, Caleb, for coming on, dude. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the hospitality you not only show myself, but the followers, listeners, with giving baits away every time you're on here. It means a lot to me, and I guarantee it means a lot to those guys too. Just the chance of obtaining something just because you're listening to something for fun or you get to partake in something for free. There's nothing better than a free bait or anything free, especially a bait like you guys make. So as always, thank you for coming on, dude. Thank you for sharing some knowledge, dropping some ideas you guys have. Like we said, after you guys comment Banana Hat or Chiquita, comment if you're interested in a meetup. Comment if you're interested, you'd be going to the Carolinas, visiting down there. Whether you're from Michigan or you're in Oregon or California, you want to go down there for a meetup. Let us know in the comments. That obviously is the big driving factor for planning and hosting such a big event like this. But as always, thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll talk to you guys next time. See you guys.